How's it? I'm Dan, Kilted Aloha drummer, back for another drum cover video. This time I'm gonna go back to the beginning.
You told me to go back to the beginning. So I have.
Like I did with the Deftones My Own Summer video, and do one back from my original, still learning to play the drum days with my first band Minion in high school, the hardcore nu metal Minion. And Joe, our singer, was a through and through hardcore guy who, just speaking for myself, like really changed my life in some ways, because like he brought me to my first local like hardcore punk shows, introduced me to that whole idea of what like a real DIY hardcore community looks like and how positive and constructive and much fun it was. Exposed me to a lot of stuff, especially like local and indie and underground hardcore punk stuff that I never would have discovered on my own. And since because of our influences we were naturally kind of like a hardcore nu metal band mushed together, we had a lot of down-tuned, riffy, groovy stuff, but we love breakdowns. So after learning a couple Deftones songs, we were interested in expanding our horizons with doing something more hardcore friendly, but still with that nu metal flavor. And what was more perfect than that than the first Soulfly album? And I say that because not only is there like a lot of really good hardcore influences in there with breakdowns and stuff like that, but also the lyrical content that Max brings to the table, or used to bring to the table, especially in those like Roots and early Soulfly days, was very like hardcore-esque kind of stuff, like not as introspective or internally emotional kind of lyrical stuff. You know, it was more like constructive, big picture, standing up for yourself, believing in yourself, like, you know, not taking flack from society and the world and the man and everything. And no song on that first Soulfly album to me better exemplifies that whole like congruence of chuggy, like down-tuned, simple riffy, nu metal kind of style with like, you know, basically every chorus is a breakdown on No Hope, No Fear, along with the positive, constructive, productive, uplifting, but angry lyrical content. So that's what we landed on. And I love this song so much. It still means as much to me or more today than it did 20 or more years ago now. Jeez. It's so much fun to play. I'll put a card up for when my band Minion performed this at a local like bar club in Pasadena, Maryland back in I think like 2000. And regardless of their output in the past like decade or more, which I've been very outspoken about on my podcast, which I'll put a link up to, Soulfly always will have a special place in my heart, so much so that I even included it in a tattoo that I got a few years ago. Oh, I also want to point out that I'm wearing my Hatebreed shirt again because of like the whole hardcore angle, but also the first time I saw Hatebreed, I believe, was also the first time that I saw Soulfly, when they were still touring on their Satisfaction is Death of Desire tour. And they were opening up for Soulfly at the 930 Club in DC. This must have been like 99, 2000-ish. And the thing about that I'll never forget, especially, is that they went on after the show almost fell apart because of Neurosis, which wasn't a bad band, but they just weren't a good fit for that high energy that people wanted. They're so slow and sludgy. And then Hatebreed came in and just lit the place on fire. One of the best pairings I'll ever see. It was like that perfect lightning in a bottle time for Hatebreed, like at their earlier output, and Soulfly just getting started, and it was just like electrifying. I also want to point out that I discovered the inverted bell symbol from Soulfly, which was used a lot, especially in the earlier stuff. I always really wanted one. I had inverted bell envy for years and years, and then finally the singer in my band, After We Pray, got me one as a gift, so thank you, Caleb. And lastly, if I seem a little stiff at this point, it's just because I wiped out on my mountain board the other day at a skate park and I landed on my shoulder. It's a little messed up, but I'll pull through. I'll put a link up to that video too, so you can see my epic annihilation. All right, and here's Soulfly's No Hope, No Fear off their self-titled album. By the way, the end, the way that we used to play it in Minion Live was we would cut off the whole kind of like jam part of the song, the bridge, where it went down into like more percussive tribal jam thing. We would just go straight from the breakdown to a final chorus. So that's the way I'm gonna play it on my rendition of it, because that's the way that I used to play it.
Let's rock today.